Game crashing and distorted sims? Watch for this and some new bug information since the game update and the Crystal Creation Stuff Pack. Hello, my name is Jennifer and welcome to my Sims 4 news video. So Quinn tweeted about more new bugs, which includes this bug where sims are getting distorted after using self-made jewelry. That specifically obviously is a Crystal Creation Stuff Pack bug, but there are other bugs on this list that don't pertain to the Stuff Pack and are just since the game update. There had already been this one that I've been keeping my eye on, where the game is crashing if you have things like brooms and wands, but also other things. So it's not just a Realm of Magic issue, but it does seem to be quite heavily into those items. And if you hover over it, your game can actually crash. And she's been doing it. I've been following this for a couple of days. So she now has a couple of methods that you can use to get rid of those stacks of the items that will crash your game, i.e. the brooms and wands and a few other things. Not every stacking item crashes your game. There's specific ones that have that little icon there that seem to crash the game. But there are a few other things. And we're actually going to start with that because it's actually crashing your game as opposed to the other one, which is still pretty serious. And it was originally thought to be a Realm of Magic issue because it does seem to be very heavily on those brooms and wands. But when I read through the report, it does look like the lightsaber crystals from Journey to Batuu can cause it. I think I saw that if you have the freelancer reward and they stack up, especially because you get them if you have Discovery University, you get them as a reward for graduating, and that can crash your game. So there's a few different things that can crash your game, and usually it just happens if you like hover over it and the game just crashes. So this is the bug report, and since this bug report, I had actually seen this right from the beginning, and even before I updated my game, because I updated my game late, I actually went in and took all of the brooms out of my Sims inventories and the wands, except for one household where I didn't remember that I had bought wands, and that was the one that I've been playing recently. So my game crashed a few times when I was playing with them, but I finally managed to get the wands out of my inventory following some of the steps that or the one of the steps that Krinrik gave. So this is on the bug thread where it just marked as a solution for visibility. It just has some suggestions of what you can do to essentially get rid of the items that are causing the crashing from your inventory. So per her blog post, you can see there that it's those items that have those little icons there in your Sims personal item. And all you do is hover. You just go near it and the game will just crash, and it gives a last exception report. So both, it has method 1 and method 2 without mods. There is no mods that are helping with this right now. That's just there as a placeholder if there was a mod solution, but at the time I'm recording this, there isn't. So the first one is easy. If you have seasons, you have to make sure your inventory window is closed, i.e. your personal inventory window. Click on any other sim you know and gift them your extra broomsticks or wands or any other affected items so that you only end up with one in your inventory. But make sure you only give them one if you have multiple, because they will just have the same issue in their inventory. But there are some issues where paintings can stop you from being able to give gifts. There's another bug report, which I'll get to later. And I also have noticed issues that if I have food in my inventory, which is also noted on the report with the paintings, that the picker won't come up, so you can't gift then. I didn't specifically do it with that, but I had it where I was trying to donate to scouts, and I couldn't do it when I had prepared food in my Sims inventory. And I think whether it's spoiled or not spoiled, it has issues. But we'll get to that when we get there. Here is the second method that Krinrik had here, and I just zoomed in on the picture so you can see the little icon, and it's a bit longer. So for PC Mac, so this is a computer option, and also make sure you have backups of your saves before you try and do this. And it doesn't always work on the first time, and you need to try multiple times. I can attest to that. I had to try multiple times to get it to work. So you go to your folder, saves, documents, Electronic Arts, The Sims 4 saves, and you delete the folder Scratch if there's one in your saves folder. You need to do this while your game is closed, because when you open your game, there will be a Scratch folder that comes up. So this is talking if there's a Scratch folder in your saves when it's closed, because it should get rid of it when you close your game, but if your game crashes, it tends to leave it there. So then you load your save game. If the inventory is showing open, close the inventory. Do some stuff with your sim, traveling, switching to build by mode, or doing some interactions or switch between sims. It's kind of random. Then you open the personal inventory and drag it to the max size, which there's going to be like a little line at the top, and you drag it up as far as you can grab it. And then you click on the stacks, which have those icons, and you click right on the stack, and then you try and drag them out of your inventory one at a time, and either it'll work or it'll crash. So before I tried it, I saved so that if it crashed, I didn't lose, what I had done while I had been playing. But I did manage to get it third, fourth try. I'm not sure. I kind of lost track because my game crashed quite a few times. So once you get that, it says save your game, and then best under a new name. So there you go. That's the other workaround. And as I said, that with mod has nothing actually on it. But another workaround that I just documented here, but I had seen someone suggested, but I tested it. They had suggested it in my work, so I tested it. It was if you have eco lifestyle, another way to remove the stacked items is to recycle them, which means obviously you're going to lose the items. And it worked for me, and it will also help you get anything out of your household inventory that's causing crashing, I would think, because it lets you select stuff. And I was able to do it with brooms and wands, because I actually went and bought some more because I had managed to get them out of my inventory. So then I tested it and did it. So this particular issue causes crashing in your game, and most of them are, like I said, with brooms and wands, but anything that has that little blue icon that was shown there, and my understanding is the lightsaber crystals have it. But I also saw someone mention they had pet fur in their inventory, and that caused it too. So just be careful, save your game, because those are the main things that I've heard, but who knows if something else could do it. So now we're going to go on to that distorted Sims, and it's not just faces, it's distorted Sims. So here is the bug report. And this is a Crystal Creations issue, and with the person who did the report, they said the teenage Sim's body shrinks, gets thinner and thinner, and their face gets distorted with smaller eyes, and their features sort of smushed together. So think the growing together loose tooth bug. And that's if they wear and remove self-made jewelry several times. So now I'm not sure if that's like they made it themselves, or if they have someone else in the household make it and give it to them, if that's like it doesn't have the problem. They do say self-made jewelry, so I'm going to assume that it's jewelry that they made. I don't know. And so then there is a picture. So the far left is where they had never worn the jewelry, and then I think as it goes on, as they took it on and off more and more times, so you can see the distortion. I did see some people commenting that young adults are okay, but that they had noticed an issue with adults and elders. And I am playing with an elder, and I can't say I had taken the jewelry on and off. Like, I'd played a week and I took it on and off every couple of days because the crystal drains, and so I would take it off and put a different version that was charged on, and I didn't notice a difference. But it's possible that they weren't wearing jewelry they made. They might have been wearing jewelry that someone else in the house made. So that's why I'm not sure if there's a distinction, and I couldn't tell from the bug report there. So I would suggest, if you're having this issue, have noticed this, to go over and comment with your experience, and of course add the me too for all of these things. So now the next one also is a Crystal Creation stuff issue, where if you're trying to have a retail store, so it's a get to work Crystal Creations issue, and you mark crafted jewelry from the Crystal Creation stuff pack for sale, and then you leave the store. Well, all those items goes to the Sims inventory when they leave the retail lot, and it doesn't stay in the store. And so obviously the expectation is that it would stay in the store and not come with you. I did see some people commenting along the thread that if you save the building to your library or the room to your library and then place that doesn't go into your inventory anymore. And I'm wondering if that breaks the ownership connection. Because there definitely seems to be something obviously going on with the ownership of them in this case. So if you're experiencing that, go head over and perhaps check and see if that works for you, that possible solution. Not solution, workaround is what I would say that is. So here's another one, and this is actually a for rent bug that happened since the update. So they're saying if you discover a secret of a sim, then open their profile from the relationship tab. The game doesn't pause as it normally does if you open the profile of a sim who has a secret revealed. And then the audio bugs out and plays the menu music over the live mode and is only fixed when relaunching the game. And not only that, from what I was seeing, you don't see the secret on the profile either. And so here's another one that was posted by Lil Miss Sam, and this particularly affects one of her mods that I love. Choose leftovers. I'm thinking this affects it, and that's why she did this. But it is a bug for everybody, not just if you were wanting to use this mod, where the items in your inventory, if you have food in your inventory, this seems to be a real issue with food in your inventory. If you try to give it to a toddler, it fails. But it also seems like if you're trying to gift people things and you have food in your inventory, even if you're not trying to gift the food, that seems to cause a problem too. So, and the last exceptions that are coming up with some of these things are the same. So they're separate bugs, but they seem a little bit related to each other. So this is another one, and there's 58 already at the time I got this screenshot. And now this one is not in the normal format. It's the first person, not even the first person, third one here. But it's got the 30 Me Too's on it. And this is where if you're trying to gift things, which was alluded to with the one with the seasons, where they said you can try and gift the brooms and the wands or whatever the stacking items are, but make sure you don't have paintings in your inventory. And I would say make sure you don't have food in your inventory, that they can't gift things. So this person had paintings and they could give friendly gifts, but they couldn't give romantic gifts. So there seems a little bit of like, not everybody's having the same issues. And then here's the one where later on in this same thread, these are all from that thread there, where having food in the inventory broke the gift menu. And like I said, I tried to donate to Scouts with my sim kids, and 3 of them, I had 5 sim kids, 3 of them had no problems and the other 2 did. And then I was like, well, let me take everything apart from the few things I want to donate out. And then I was able to donate. And when I mean donate is when I go donate on the computer or the phone, in my case, it wouldn't pull up the picker menu where you pick your items. And I think that's what the issue is. So it just would fail and I would get a last exception. And you don't need MCCC or better exceptions to see last exceptions. They're just in your Sims 4 folder where your saves and everything are also. So you don't need a mod in your game to see if you have last exceptions. They just format it in a way that's easier to read. But yeah, so with the second child, I just gradually took everything out and I realized it was taking the food out that then let me pull out that picker menu so that my Sim kid could donate to charity. So that seems to be paintings and food. That seems to cause that problem. And so now the last one that was from Crinrick's list of bugs is this one here, where if you learn the woohoo interest of another sim, the incorrect woohoo interest display on their sim profile. So if you learn the woohoo interest of a sim who's interested in woohoo with women, when you open their profile, it shows the sim is interested in woohoo with no one. And so you expect to see the correct ones, and it was working before and they hadn't looked recently. And so the issue is that the wrong woohoo interests show in the sim profile. And I had the problem too, because I checked it after seeing this. I had a married couple and they were set to have preference for each other, like the female for the male and the male for the female. And I had them woohoo after the update, even though I know they had before because they had kids. But after I did that, it came up and said, oh, they learned their woohoo interest, even though I should have already known them. And it showed, sure enough, no one. So, but in my case, it didn't seem to have an issue. They still could woohoo, but I had to make sure they were close enough to where, the bed or whatever it was that they were using. If they were far away, it seemed to fail, because there were some people saying that it failed, but I don't know if that was a proximity thing and maybe that caused an issue, or maybe that's just a routing thing and completely unrelated to this particular issue. I don't know, but I did see that comment in there. So now that's it for all the bugs that Krinrik had shared on her 2 tweets. But what she did say here is, this patch is messy and a lot of work to keep the bug form clean. So please, before reporting an issue, remove your mods, i.e. take your mods folder out of your game. Delete the local bum cache file, test again with your mods folder out. Check the compiled list and the first 2 posts of the forum. I would look at the first 2 pages of the forum, and if you're unsure if it's a bug, use the game issues area instead. If it turns out to be a bug, it'll either be merged with an existing bug, or it'll be just moved to the bug forum for you to see it over there. But it's pretty messy over there. And don't report bugs on Twitter. Don't report them to Krinrik, and also don't tweet a guru. Chances are they're going to get overlooked. AHQ, Answers Headquarters, is the only place to report, because that is actually being monitored by EA, and that's where they're going to see the bug reports. That's where they saw the bug report, where they end up fixing it with the emergency patch. So that is the place to report. Now, also, make sure you keep backups. The game is just not very stable right now. It already wasn't with For Rent, and much as there were some fixes that were done, there still are issues, as you can see from this. So regularly make backups of your saves, and you can find them in your doc folder in the Sims 4 folder. And then she has a very good blog post about how to do backups and other questions. So I'm just going to touch on a couple of things from her blog post, but I highly recommend you go over and check it out yourself. But I'm going to cover what is a backup from her blog post. A backup is a copy of your folders and files to an external drive, a different place on your computer, a flash drive or a DVD, or even if you save it to an external site. Backups are used to go back to an older state if the existing one is not working or your computer is failing. So there's 2 reasons to back up. One is if there's an issue with the game, you can back up, and 2 is if your hard drive or whatever fails, you can get it. That's not very useful if it's on the same computer, but if it's on an external source, then that's useful. So here are the Sims 4 files that you might want to back up. So obviously saves is important, and it shows you where it is. Documents, Electronic Arts of Sims 4. This is the same whether it's on PC or Mac. And so your saves, your tray, which is your things in your library, like your households, houses, and rooms. Your mods folder, whatever you put in there yourself, of course. Your screenshots folder, your custom music, if you have any. And your options.ini file, which is so you don't have to reset your options every time. So if you have, whatever your graphic settings and any of your settings are there. So if you don't want to lose that, then that's good to back up too. So those are the folders there. So I'm not going to go over the rest of it. I really highly recommend, like I said, you go head over and take a look at her blog post. So I'd love to know if you've experienced any of these bugs, but also make sure you go head over to EA Answer Headquarters to add your Me Too's and your discussion points over there, because that's where EA is going to see it. But that's going to be it for this video. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!